Hey, everybody, welcome to Fearless and Flourishing, where we encourage and empower women, and especially my single mamas out there, to thrive and live your best life. My name is Sarah Simon. I am your host. I'm a life coach, an artist, I'm a friend, I'm a singer, I'm an author. I work with special needs adults, which is wonderful. And most importantly, my favorite hat is mama. So it is my joy to share what I've learned, and thanks for joining me on the journey. So today, as you've noticed, our video is called Oh Snap, My Food Stamps Are Gone. What am I going to do? And that is a very real crisis for a lot of people, and I'm not making light of it. But what I am going to do is share a little bit about my journey and how I intentionally weaned myself off of food stamps as a single mother several years ago. So, anybody who's struggling to figure out how to make meals, we'll talk about that. November 1st, they say that people are not going to get their food stamps or SNAP benefits in the United States because of our government shutdown, because there's some disagreements about the budget. And that's one thing that's affected. And a lot of people are affected across all walks of life, shall we say. It affects race. It's everybody who's lower income, who's been dependent on this. So let's figure out a couple things and we'll do it together, okay? So first, if you do have some money left, I'll give you a suggestion here. A 20-pound bag of rice and chicken goes a long way. So there was a while where I was on kind of a particular diet and I cut out all the junk food. And I wasn't having any added sugar. I wasn't having any processed foods or any starch either. So that meant potatoes or rice, actually. But basically, I was just having complete whole foods, protein and whole foods like broccoli, cauliflower, spaghetti, squash. I was having non-starchy fruits such as oranges, apples. So if you are having the starch, you can also add in bananas to that list, things like that. But I was just amazed at how much money I saved on my grocery bills just by cutting out the extra junk food, the chips and the ice cream and little snacky snacks that we all like to have. But, if you do have some money left from last month's benefits or just in your pocketbook, I would just recommend getting some basics. Go ahead and like pick up a pack of chicken breasts and 20-pound bag of rice and some potatoes and sweet potatoes and some oranges, bananas, apples, grapes, things like that. That'll give you nutrients that'll fill you and your kids up. And it goes a long way. Get a little spices like sea salt, which is better than regular iodized salt, and maybe some basil, lemon, fresh garlic. The fresher ingredients that you cook with, the better. It's going to have more flavor. Get some EVOO, some olive oil, some butter, and the cheapest sources of protein are eggs and chicken and protein powder, actually. So maybe get some oatmeal. You can make some muffins, some protein balls, and those kind of things really go a long way. Plus, it's going to be better for you. So going back to how I started, I'm a single mom, and I was on food stamps for a while. I was a college student, and then I was just low income. But I am doing my very best to be as dependent, to not be as dependent on the state or the government as possible. So, and for those reasons, I learned how to save some money and how to be creative in certain ways. So, if we're not getting that money from food stamps or snaps, we have to figure out how to eat, right? If you really have a need, my friends, don't hesitate to contact charitable organizations or churches or food pantries because they're there to help you. But we're going to talk about mainly how to survive and how to thrive on less. So if you're a lady like myself, chances are you like to have your hair done, you like having nice nails, you like to take care of yourself, maybe a little makeup now and then, new clothing allowance. We like the clothes and the shoes and all the things, right? A lot of ladies like to go to the spa. We'll get the nail extensions, the hair extensions, the lashes. I'm telling all of our secrets now, right? But there are ways to do this and look good without breaking the bank. And if you have to tighten your belt for a little while, that's fine. Do it. I mean, there's no harm in even selling everything that's not nailed down. You might actually appreciate the space in your house from clearing out some clutter. You'll have extra money in your bank account and you'll have a little cushion, if not just more, to get you by. So that's one thing you can do. Go through your house, start selling things, put it on Facebook Marketplace, consignment stores, have a big yard sale. Another thing we can do to not just survive, but thrive and get by when times are a little tough, okay? We can learn how to cut our own hair or have a friend cut our own hair. That saves $20, $30 a person in the family, right? Another thing, you can work with your own texture. So if that's curly, if you're my curly hair girls, just work with that. Don't, go into the straightening and get all the products and stuff. Just work with what your own natural hair is. Or just take care of what you do have. And if you need extensions or a hairpiece or wig, just take care of it and make it last. Make your clothes last. Have a capsule wardrobe instead of buying new things. Keep your favorite pieces that go together. And if you need something else, shop at thrift stores instead of new. And go through your closet. And if there's something that's not working for you or your kids, sell it. And that way you'll have more money for the extra cushion. All right, so that covers the hair, right? Nails, you can do glue on, press on, or just have a very simple, natural manicure. Just keep your nails filed, clear polish, nude polish, you're good to go. You're going to look put together, you're going to look beautiful. And all right, how about let's see, our lashes, if we want that. If you're a lash girl, you can get glue on, right? Or just mascara, or just go on natural. Embrace your natural beauty, but do what makes you feel good. So there's inexpensive ways to do things that don't have to break the bank. You don't have to pay $75 for this, $100 for that, $300 for that. Instead, focus that money on what matters right now, feeding yourself, feeding your family. Another thing we can do, instead of shopping on Amazon or shopping at the mall or going to Target for fun, recreational shopping, right? You can shop your house or get together with your besties, pull some things together that you don't want and shop each other's stuff. So that can be fun. You can have a shopping party. That way you can get rid of what you don't want, and you can help your friends to get rid of what they don't want, and you can use each other's stuff. So pool resources, right? That is really something that we have to do when times are tough, is to not be afraid to admit that we have a need, but also help each other out, right? That's what humanity is all about. So what can you do to meet someone else's need right now? Maybe you have extra XYZ, and your friend or family member might have extra ABC. So pool your resources and say, hey, I've got this need, but I have this to offer. Do you have a need? And what, maybe we could barter. Maybe we could help each other. Maybe we can meet for dinner at our houses instead of going out to eat. And you can save so much money by not going out to eat. It's ridiculous how much food costs when you go out to eat, right? It costs triple at least. So it's a wonderful to do if you have the money and resources, but if you don't, it's okay. There's no shame in that. Or if you're saving for something, put that money elsewhere. Get creative. If you have children, have the kids start making dinner with you. Teach them how to cook. Those are memories that you're going to make. And can we put a price on that? No. Plus, it's teaching the kids a great skill, right? So they're cooking with mom, and then they're getting a life skill in the process. And that's a wonderful thing. One of my son's best memories is being in the kitchen with my mother before she passed. Since they were spending time together, that was a really big deal. They would cook together and bake together, and now my son cooks and bakes with me. And I remember my parents doing it when I was a child, that they would cook in the kitchen and make spaghetti sauce in this pan and make dad's chicken soup to this recipe and make his mother's cookies and things like that. So there's a lot of things that we can do. Focus on the experience and focus on what you do have versus what you don't have. And sometimes as Americans, we say that we can't do something, when in reality we can. We just have to get a little bit creative and think beyond our box. So I like to say, when someone says, I can't, for example, my son, I will flip that question and I will say, okay, let's ask, how can I? Is this possible? How could I? How can I do this? It's like it's our brains working in a little opposite position where we're not feeling so stuck. That's really important, to feel empowered, isn't it? And sometimes we don't feel very empowered when we feel like we're stuck. So we need to think a little bit larger than where we're currently seeing. So what resources do you have in your hand? What are you currently doing with them? And maybe there's a friend or family member in a similar position. And how can you pool your resources to come together as a community? What did our grandparents do? They probably ate less and they stretched what they had. They were very creative with what they had, weren't they? I remember my grandmother, stories anyway, where she would turn the flour sacks into towels. You'd open them up and then you could sew the edges sometimes. And to the date, we still have those flour sacks that grandma decided to keep. And she kept them because she needed to utilize them. She didn't have money to spend on fancy towels. But now those are wonderful, almost family heirlooms that we have. So that's just one example of how we can be creative with what we have. We can upcycle a lot of things that we currently just throw away. And if you can upcycle it to use it, make it useful, maybe you could even make it creative and beautiful and possibly sell it. So maybe that'll get your wheels going in that direction. Maybe you could make maybe you can make money and make a profit on something that you're currently throwing away. Just food for thought. So, and last but least, let's talk about fasting. Now that's something that you need to maybe approach with your doctor because it's not for everyone. But healthy individuals should have no problem with fasting for up to 3 to 5 days even. I fasted longer than that. Intermittent fasting is great. You can basically skip dinner or skip breakfast, and a lot of to get the most benefits, usually like a 16-hour window is good for intermittent fasting. You can do whatever you like, but think of the money you'll save if you skip one meal, and that's going to be really good for your health. So look up the benefits of intermittent fasting and regular fasting, and you'll see. Do I recommend children do it? Not necessarily, but you as an adult, that's one thing that you may want to look into. So it'll save your bank account something, and if you use that time to maybe draw near to God, it can benefit your relationship with Him spiritually, and it might actually benefit your health. So 3 things to consider. And anything else that I'm missing here? Yeah, just when you go shopping with the resources that you have, focus on whole foods versus junk foods, because those junk foods just aren't very good for us mentally or emotionally, as one of my friends pointed out. But it's so much better for us, and it saves money when we focus on things that are real. So do organic when you can, but if you can't, if it's not on sale, and money is really tight, then just focus on the whole foods, something that isn't processed: potatoes, rice, chicken, ground beef, something, eggs, fruit. Go around the peripheral of the store instead of down every aisle with all the chips and cookies, things like that. Well, we have gone on long enough, but if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I would love to read them. I'll respond. And if you're the breadwinner in your family, whether you're a single mom or you're married, I just want to tell you that I'm so proud of you for working hard. And you should give yourself a big hug and a pat on the back, because it's not easy. As women, we have to wear a lot of hats. And self-care is very, very important. So maybe you want to go back to that self-care video that I did for just a few ideas of some ways, simple ways, that you can take care of yourself as you're managing a budget, as you're managing a family, as you're managing a job, as there are people who depend on you, as you're trying to build your dreams and find ways to accomplish your goals. So I believe in you. I think you're amazing. God has good plans for you. He has plans to give you a future and a hope and not to harm you. So keep the faith. Stay strong, my beautiful sisters, and we will see you next time. Thank you for watching.